More fun with Excel. Let's construct a loan amortization schedule, and let's do it using Excel. I tell you what, I definitely wouldn't want to do this by hand. And once you see what it involves, I think you'll agree. So let's play. First, let's talk about the types of functions we're going to need. So first, we're going to need a payment function noted by PMT. We'll need the rate, the number of periods that we're making that, and the present value of the loan. We're also going to need to be able to calculate the principal, which is the PPMT function. Again, the rate, the per, and the NPER. We're going to talk about all of this, but sometimes it's helpful to write this stuff down. We're also going to need the interest payment, the IPMT, the rate, the per, the NPER, and the PV. Now, the per, just the PER, gosh darn it, hit the wrong button. The per is the payment number. Is it the first payment in the loan, the second payment in the loan, the third payment in the loan? That's what the PER stands for. And so it's like the period. The NPER is the number of periods per year. Okay, so let's jump in. A few shortcuts. If we use the $ between the letter of the cell and the number of the cell, it'll lock it in the formula. The reason this is helpful is because we're going to use the drag feature in Excel to make this easier. And to do so, we're going to want to lock in some values. Keep that in mind. Okay, so the example we're going to use, write down this information. You bought a house and took out a loan for $190,000 with an annual interest rate of 4%, and you're making monthly payments for 15 years. Now, use Excel to create an amortization schedule for the loan. Maybe I should have started with what is an amortization schedule? Well, here's a quick dealio. When you take out a loan, there's interest charged on that, right? So I'm going to pay $190,000 back plus all kinds of interest. Each payment that I make back to my bank or wherever I'm taking the loan from, each payment is going to have some principal that goes to the value of the loan, and some of that payment is interest that just goes straight to the bank. And the amortization schedule breaks it all up and tells you how much is going to principal, how much is going to interest, how much do you have left on your loan. Okay, so let's go to Excel and look at this. So we've got an Excel sheet, and let's type in what we know. We know the loan amount is $190,000. Now the interest rate is 4%, but that is an annual rate, and we are making monthly payments. So as you know, hopefully, Excel is a calculator. So I'm going to type in equals 4% divided by 12, because 4% is my annual rate. If I want that monthly, I divide that guy by 12. And that is my monthly interest rate. Years on the loan, 15. Periods per year, 12. Okay, so now we're going to be able to do this. Now, one thing I want to point out is that we also might need total periods, right? So, well, let's call it total pay periods. Because the total pay periods would be 15 times 12. 15 years alone, 12 pay periods. There's 180 pay periods total. Okay, so now let's get into actually putting this out here. So the payment. To find the payment, we're going to use the PMT function. Now we need the rate. The rate is B2. So I'm going to type in $2, and that locks in. You can see how that's now in blue, and the cell B2 is highlighted in blue. So I like the color coordinating. I can see what I need. Next is NPER, the number of periods. Well, I need B5. $5. You can notice again, it's red. B5, and because I'm locking it in with the $. Then I need the present value of the loan, which is found in $1, and that is purple. Okay, so that's going to be my monthly payment. Great. Columns C and D are going to tell us from that $1,405.41, how much of that is principal and how much of that is interest. Principal goes to reducing your loan amount. Interest goes to the bank. So for the principal, we're going to use the principal payment, PPMT function. I'm going to type in the rate, right? Because that's what's highlighted there. So again, the rate is B2. So B, $2. Next, I need per. What is the period? Well, I can find the period in A7. Notice I'm not using a $sign because every line it needs to change, because it'll need to be the second payment in the second line and the third payment. So I just want to use the cell reference A7 here. Next, I have the number of periods. So again, I'm going to use B, $5, because that's the total number of periods, and then the present value, which is B1. Okay, so $770.07 is principal. Now, the other part of that should be interest. So we could use a subtraction formula, or we can use the interest payment feature. So the rate, again, is B, $2. The period, again, is just A7. The number of periods, B, $5. And then the present value, B1. And you might say, Becky, that's the exact same thing we typed into C. And I know it is. But now we have the interest payment, not the principal payment. Okay, to find our balance. Well, the balance is found by taking our loan amount, B1, and we're going to add to it C7. No $signs. Now, the reason we're adding is because you can see in C7, our number is in parentheses. That means it's a negative number. So when I hit enter, you can see my balance is less than what I started with by $772.07. Okay, so now when I go to this, I have this only in for 22 payments, but I'm going to, now that I have my formula in there, I can double click. I'm making the same payment every pay period. When I double click the principal, hold on, fixed it. Notice up in the address bar, I needed that $sign between the B and the 1. I hadn't locked that in. Okay, so you'll notice the principal goes up slightly every month. So as my overall balance decreases, my principal increases. That's also going to be true. I forgot the $sign here too. So I'm going to put the $sign in there and redo this. There we go. So you'll notice it goes up slightly, right? So the balance goes up, the interest goes down. Now, for the balance, we're going to need a new formula. So for the balance, I want the balance, and I want to add that to the principal. So once I do that, now that I'm using this formula, now I can just auto fill. So you can see how it goes. Now, if we say this is 180, let's do this out to 180 months. And if you're thinking, how do I do that? Well, if you have some numbers in, if I just highlight 3 lines here, actually, let's just highlight 3. This shows I'm adding by 1. So I'm going to go and click on this green square in the corner. I'm going to click and drag. Now, I need over 180, so let's just do that. That's fine. This gives me 197. You can see we go up by 1. I only need 180, so let's just delete those extras. And now it goes down to all the way to 180. So if I scroll back up, these, all 4, B, C, D, and E, have formulas. So if I just highlight the last and double click in that bottom right-hand corner, it's going to autofill using my formula all the way to the end. Okay, so if I scroll down, you can see my balance is going down, my balance is going down. When I get to 180, that very last payment, $1,474 goes to principal. I'm only paying $4.67 in interest on that last payment. So the thing is, you can see as you go, you pay less interest, but you're paying a lot more interest over time. This is why it's commonly said you have to be in your house at least 5 years before you sell it to really not lose money. So 5 years is at the 60-month mark. So notice how I would have paid, close to a little over $51,000 on my house at that point. That's the important piece. If you only have your house for, let's say, 8 months and then say, oh, I'm going to sell it. I did this once, by the way. Notice how my balance only decreased by like a little over 6,000, but now I'm going to sell it. I paid so much in interest and then just sold my house. I didn't pay $190, but that's beside the point. Okay, so that's kind of the idea of using an amortization table and figuring out how to do that. You can also play with this of, what if you want to change your payment? What if you want your payment to just be $1,500? Autocorrect that. How does that change everything, right? You could do this kind of a piece, although I don't think it changed. But you can change different things of what if it's a payment. We can play with some different things. Anyway, that's how you construct an amortization table.